Keon Coleman is the biggest Dynasty riser coming out of week one, and we'll tell you why next.
You are Locked On Dynasty Football, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Welcome back. I am your host, Marcus Mosher, joined today by Matt Williamson. Fabs is out. He'll be back on Thursday. And on today's show, we're going to talk about Harold Fannin's dynasty value after a huge week one. We'll take a look at the top rookie receivers and redraft them. But Matt, let's start with this. Who is the player that you think gained the most dynasty value over the weekend?
I think you should lead off because you got the best one. I got some names up.
Yeah, we'll get to a couple names, but I think it's Keon Coleman.
That's a great one. Yeah,
he just looked way more competent than he did at any point last year. And there's still some things in his game that he needs to clean up. He's not the best route runner. He's not the best separator. And if you've been on social media the last 2 days, that's all anybody's debating is how good does Keon Coleman do at getting open? But it's
I don't think he has to be, though.
Yeah, I don't think he has to be either. The perfect example to me of Keon Coleman's value, there was a cover 2 play, I think in the third quarter, where Josh Allen found him. He skies up high, makes a catch, and that's all he needs to do. And it feels like he's not the de facto number one in Buffalo, but it just feels like he's going to get a ton of opportunities here.
I love his marriage with the style of quarterback he has. Now, any receiver would benefit from Allen, obviously, but a big-bodied guy that plays with a quarterback with a rocket arm that isn't bashful about throwing one-on-ones and that type of thing. I think Buffalo, to their credit, have been looking for a number one. I think they wanted it to be Kincaid, with kind of like a Kelsey vibe in mind when they drafted him. And that just isn't working out to the degree that they wanted to. And therefore, I kind of feel like Shakir took it over kind of by default. He's reliable, he's tough, he's a slot dude, he's a good football player. But the door is still really open for a true number one. And I don't know if Coleman's one of the best 20 receivers in the league or ever will be, but situationally and style and ability to score touchdowns, I think you said it best. I just thought he looked better than at any point.
He looked way more confident.
Yeah, he looks like an improved player.
And sometimes that's all it takes. And remember, Keon Coleman was incredibly young coming out of Florida State. He was one of the youngest players in the draft. We shouldn't be surprised that he looks way more confident and in control in year two. And again, I don't think we're talking about him as like, hey, go out and make him your number one receiver in fantasy. We're talking about somebody who was wide receiver 50 going into the month of September. He was somebody, in the offseason was being drafted as wide receiver 65, wide receiver 70. And I just think now he's in that conversation of guys like Jordan Addison, who is wide receiver 34, Jameson Williams, wide receiver 32, George Pickens, wide receiver 29. Like, he's at least in that conversation where he absolutely was not there a month ago.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. I think that's probably the answer, to be honest with you, to that question. Yeah.
So who else do you got? Because there were quite a few guys this week that I think we should be moving up our dynasty rankings.
I think we have to mention ATN and Tootin. That three-headed monster kind of went by the wayside in Jacksonville. And I was talking to Peacock about this yesterday. There was a point right before the fantasy season, I got kind of fed up with the Jacksonville backfield and just started watching tape. And I really thought that fantasy football folks were too hard on ATN's 2024 season. I thought he was a better player than the numbers or fantasy points revealed. And now you get Bigsby out of the way. Tootin, I think, really benefits from that too, because ATN's a free agent after the year. So I think those guys need mentioned. And you know me, I'm going to bring things back to the Steelers. Steelers Jets, to me, I watched 3 times. And I'm obviously very familiar with Justin Fields from his time here, but not like everyone else isn't. I think the Jets across the board, Wilson, Hall, Taylor, but especially Fields, get a boost. I mean, I was really impressed with the Jets coaching staff. I think they might have a good group there now. Really impressed with their offensive line. I adored Membo coming out, and he was phenomenal. Even with Vera Tucker out, they moved Tippmann to guard and Myers to center. That O-line, and Fashanu was really good. I think is built for the long term and should be really, really good. But they played the Fields' strength. I mean, the Steelers had an offense designed for Russell Wilson that they put Fields in. This is an offense designed for Fields that he looks like a rocket ship running. He looked way more confident in the pocket. I thought it was his best game as a pro. Now, the whole key with him is, has he done enough? And the answer is no, because it's only one game, to be considered a long-term starter. Because if he falls on his face, he's going to be a number 2 next year, and then this is all for naught, But he took a nice step in the right direction.
And I thought the play calling, honestly, was really good. And that, to me, that's the thing that gets me the most excited about this Jets offense, is it felt like they just had a counter for everything that Pittsburgh threw at them. And I think more than anything, they know who they are. And for a lot of teams, like, they just don't know what they're trying to do on offense until we get to week 8 to week 9. Like, they know they want to run the ball. They're going to use every first down to run the ball so they can get themselves ahead of the chains. And they're going to, in short yardage, they're going to run the ball. And they're going to sprinkle some play action, and they're going to hit some big plays. Breece Hall was somebody, Matt, who I was just completely out on going into the season.
And I'm mad at myself for it.
Yeah, and Fabs and I talked about it on a Monday. Like, we were absolutely wrong, at least coming out of week 1. He looks phenomenal. And this offense with Justin Fields, I mean, I don't think it hurts to go from Aaron Rodgers to Fields, and now you've got to worry about that backside pursuit. I think everybody in this Jets offense deserves at least somewhat of a bump in our dynasty rankings.
1,000%. And I'm not saying it's Lamar and Henry, but we do know that a running quarterback with a really talented running back can be a lethal duo and phenomenal for fantasy.
So real quick on Justin Fields before we move on, going into September, he was being drafted as quarterback 22. How high would you push him? You got guys like Dak Prescott at QB 17, Jared Goff at QB 18. Would you put him ahead of those two?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
What about CJ Stroud if we're going up to the next tier? CJ Stroud, QB 14.
Probably. I mean, the whole key, like I said, is has he done enough to be a long-term starter? At a minimum, I think he's going to be a 17-game starter, barring injuries. And that's pretty good because I think he's obviously a top 10 every week type of guy. And that might be enough for him to be ahead of the Strouds and Goffs that we know are going to be starters for a long time. But can he be a starter next year?
I don't know.
We don't know. Nobody knows.
We don't know. But I will say that range of quarterbacks, let's say QB 12 to QB 17, QB 18, that is the easiest spot to replace a quarterback. So, like, if Justin Fields burns out and it's 1 year of elite fantasy production and he's not a starter next year, I don't feel like you're missing out on CJ Stroud. Like, I feel like CJ Stroud's ceiling is only ever going to be so high. He's not really a runner. I don't think under DeMeco Ryans they want to throw the ball a ton. I just don't think you're missing out that much if you're flipping Stroud for Fields.
And if it blows up in your face, draft Mateer next year in your rookie draft in the second round or whatever.
Listen, you and I are big John Mateer fans. Oklahoma. I'm crossing my fingers. He's not the next Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. Yeah.
I'm crossing my fingers. He is.
All right. Let's talk about the rookie receivers. Let's talk about the rookie receivers and what our thoughts are on these guys coming out of week 1. Who would you redraft at number 1? We will get to that next. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet, whether it's player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in as the action is going on. I love the futures market. Like, that's my favorite way to bet. I love waking up on a Tuesday morning and seeing who's the favorite to win each division, who's the current Super Bowl favorite, the MVP favorite, and it's all available on FanDuel. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add just a little bit more energy and excitement to your Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That is FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. This episode is brought to you by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow, and over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keeps you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. And if you need parts fast for a project, Supply House's next day delivery is an absolute game changer. I know for me, like I hate putting off projects. So if I can have all the parts available to me right now, it makes getting things done around the house so much easier. So join the free Trade Master program today and score some serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your order. That is supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Now, let's get to this next one, the rookie receivers. We saw Emeka Egbuka have a huge day for Tampa Bay. We saw Travis Hunter line up almost exclusively as a slot receiver in Liam Cohen's offense. And then we saw a few nice plays from Tedroy McMillan in Carolina. After one game, and I know we should not overreact in one game, but how would you redraft or re-rank these wide receivers?
Hunter still won by a wide margin, and I like the other guys a lot. I just adore this player. And frankly, if things go right, I think he's capable of being Jamar Chase.
Okay.
I think he can be that good at this position, even if he mixes in some corner. I think he could be better than Brian Thomas. I think the sky is the limit for him. I'm not predicting he gets there. Very few do. I just think that he can be special, where these other guys can be wide receiver ones, and I like them as well. I like them. I like the rookie class more than I thought I would, and it's growing on me every day. But Hunter's my guy.
I see Hunter as a CeeDee Lamb level prospect. I'm not quite sure he's as physical as Jamar Chase, but if he's CeeDee Lamb, sign me up.
Yeah.
But it feels very much like this is the plan for Jacksonville, is to make him the full-time slot receiver, have him play part-time on defense. There was a report from Pete Prisco over on CBS Sports that once Hunter dinged up his shoulder a little bit in training camp, that kind of took away the idea of him being a full-time defensive player. Like, they need him to be healthy on offense, and they think they can protect him better, actually on offense better than they can on defense, because he doesn't have to tackle as much, right? He's not going to have to take on, guards and offensive tackles in the run game. So everything is
kind of like this. Like, they need him to be healthy on offense. They want him to play defense.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
Yes. And I think that's kind of what Pete Prisco was alluding to. Like, they don't really have another receiver on the roster outside of Brian Thomas Jr., who they can rely on. They need Travis Hunter to be that guy. So I'm with you there. It's the next one that's really hard for me.
I avoided that.
Yeah, well, I liked McMillan. Actually, I love McMillan coming into the draft process. I love that he landed with Carolina. I'm still very bullish on him.
Mm-hmm.
But
I would take Egbuka above him.
That's where I'm at now. Like, it's one game, and we shouldn't overreact. But Egbuka's just good, man.
He's really good. Really, really good. He's refined. He's in a good situation. I don't think Evans will be there all that much longer. I'm not sure it even matters. He's not going to lose the number 2 job, I'm sure, when Godwin comes back, but maybe it diminishes a little. I trust the organization much more than Carolina. I trust the quarterback more than Carolina. And I'm not sure who I'd rather take on my real team, but my dynasty team, I'm definitely taking Egbuka too.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have McMillan for my real life NFL team, but from a fantasy perspective, man, it's just, and this is why we told people back in May and June, like, don't overreact to the depth chart too much, because things happen really quickly. And if you're a very talented receiver, you usually get a lot of opportunities, and we're already seeing that. Like, I won't be surprised, Matt, if and when Chris Godwin gets back, Egbuka's role just doesn't really change at all. Like, he's going to be the number 2 guy here.
Yeah, I think he's entrenched.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
let's talk about the next group of receivers because I think the top three are pretty clear.
Yeah.
Matthew Golden is the
Okay.
wide receiver 4 right now. How are you feeling about Golden coming out of week 1?
I don't want to change. I'm not going to change my opinion on him. I still
Okay.
like him. I didn't see enough to move him up, down, worry about it at all. Strangely, I mean, it just kind of dawned on me, and I was shocked when I read this morning. They extended Christian Watson. I'm not sure why, and the timing's weird. I don't think that's a reflection poorly on Golden, but I didn't expect him to be in the mix going forward.
I wonder if that's more. The number is fairly low. It's like 13 million is the ceiling of what he can earn. I wonder if it's like, hey, don't rush your rehab. We've got you covered. We want you to be back fully healthy for 2026. And then we'll kind of reevaluate things. And honestly, I think it's probably not a bad deal for Watson, who's missed so much time
for
with
him,
injuries, right? So I can kind of get it from both sides, but I do think it muddies the picture a little bit more in Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if their 3 receiver sets going forward, like down the road, are Watson, Golden, Reed, and I loved Kraft, I can't imagine anyone really emerging as a true number 1 there.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's do this next group because this is the one that's fascinating to me. Luther Burden, Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris, Kyle Williams, who is playing behind Kayshon Boutte, and we can talk about him if you want to, Jalen Noel, Jack Besh. Of those receivers, which one do you prefer?
Besh has to be last, unfortunately.
I agree. And actually, I was going to say, for me, the guy is honestly one of them I didn't mention, Dont'e Thornton, who had kind of the game-winning catch for the Raiders this week. He's a 4th-round pick who is starting as an X receiver. Besh is not. I think Besh played 6 total snaps.
Yeah, I thought he might even be an active coming in.
Thornton played basically in every down receiver for the Raiders with Geno Smith and Pete Carroll. I kind of like Thornton the best of all these guys.
Especially if Myers gets traded at some point, or even so, they're very different. Another name I would throw right in that mix, and maybe number 1, is Horton with Seattle. I mean, he didn't get targeted, but he was clearly the 3, and I think Cooper Kupp is washed as could be. Horton's a lot different than Smith-Njigba, obviously, and I thought he was going to be kind of a year removed, but he might get more and more in the mix. I don't like that group overall, though.
No, it's Luther Burden hardly played. Now, I know I think he's going to get more snaps as the season goes along, but like Jaden Higgins did nothing. Jalen Noel did nothing. Trey Harris was like the 4th and 5th receiver for the Chargers. Keenan Allen played really, really well.
Yeah, he's in trouble.
He's in a little bit of trouble. That's why I think someone like Thornton, who is all of 6'4", 205 and runs in the low 4.3s in an offense that wants to push the ball down the field, like that's probably the guy that I want to bet on here.
Yeah, I mean, I think Thornton and Horton might be ahead of all of them. Yeah, and that rhymes.
Yeah, one other one. I like Ayo Manor for the Tennessee Titans.
I was going to throw him out there, yeah.
He looked pretty decent. Now he had a couple drops, but he's playing with the first team offense. I think the rest of the receivers in Tennessee looked pretty awful in week 1. He's somebody that
hold that against them too much in the altitude. Rookie quarterback, Surtain, awful defense.
It's a great defense, right?
Yeah, I mean, I bet that's their low water mark, but it was ugly.
But it's not a bad receiver to target because the volume could be there pretty quickly this year. He was somebody that was very productive against some of the top corners. Like he absolutely dominated Travis Hunter when they played, I think 2 years ago. He's at least somebody that I want to stash on the bottom of my roster until we see more.
Before he was drafted, I thought for sure he was a day 2 player. I was shocked that he fell as long as he did. He's tough. He's physical. I do want to mention Kyle Williams, though. We don't know anything more about him, but I don't know that we can change our tune after one week.
No, and honestly,
I'm a
fan. So am I. Kayshon Boutte played well. I think he had over 100 yards, 6 catches. A lot of that was as an X receiver. And while that's great, I think, honestly, it says more about the Raiders defensive backs. I think you're going to have a lot of no-name receivers have some big days against this Raiders secondary.
Quite possible.
The biggest takeaway for me is Stephon Diggs looked not great. And I think that's where Kyle Williams could eventually eat into his snap totals.
Yes. And I think more losses, the better for Kyle Williams too.
Yes.
I think Vegas knows way more than I do, but I can't believe that the Patriots win total is as high as it is, or some people are actually picturing them as a playoff team. Like
it's almost like just because you have an easy schedule doesn't mean that you're a good team. Right. And I think that's the misconception with the Patriots for people that were betting them on FanDuel. It's just like, yeah, their schedule is easy, but this team is very flawed, and we don't even know if Drake May is going to be a difference maker at quarterback yet.
And I think he will be, and I still think the team isn't very good, you know?
All right, let's talk about one more rookie who really stood out in week 1. Let's talk about Harold Fannin's dynasty value next. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every single ride, and with more IIHS top safety pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all of the details, and Mazda brings the same intention to how they craft every single model. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make your everyday drives feel like anything but, with smooth handling, fantastic controls, and with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. I know where I live, you have to have the all-wheel drive, and that's why Mazda stands out compared to everyone else. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen every single day. For your second listen, get a double dose of the Locked On NFL Podcast. Tyler, the Madman Rowland, gives you a shot of espresso to start your football day, while Tony Wiggins takes you to the barbershop with the smoothest breakdowns. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. All right, Matt, let's talk about Harold Fannin Jr., the Browns rookie tight end, who in startup drafts, or in rookie drafts, was being drafted as like tight end 7, tight end 6 in some of these leagues. Yeah. His overall ADP, tight end 21 in the month of August. But based on just what we saw in week 1, he's not going to stay there for very much longer.
I know. I own none of him. I avoided him like the plague. I'm a little concerned about that. My logic at the time was, this is a weird athlete. I mean, he kind of moves strange, very weird. He's got athlete.
Duck feet. Yeah.
Yeah. And that just, there aren't many that, are that outlier that ends up having productive careers. And I did hold the small school thing against him, that he's the biggest fish in a tiny pond, and they're feeding him targets left and right. And I didn't love the landing spot. I don't trust the organization. Don't trust the quarterback. Njoku was there. I expect him to be bad. But I'm regretting all that a little bit, because at this position, sometimes there's just a knack for getting open, and some guys have it, and he does. Like he understands the nuances already of setting up defenders or where to sit it down in zones, and he's good after the catch. And I don't know that Njoku is going to be there long term, right? I mean,
no, he's a free agent after this year.
He could be a trade deadline guy,
And honestly, it would make sense for Cleveland. Like, if you could, I think you could get quite a bit for Njoku.
I would think,
from teams that are in playoff contention. I wasn't surprised to see Fannin on the field a bunch, because Kevin Stefanski loves running 2 tight end sets, and he likes guys to be the H-backs. And everything we've heard out of Cleveland this year is they're going back to a traditional Kevin Stefanski offense. But I was shocked to see that he led the team in targets with 9. I was shocked to see him being used as a wildcat quarterback. Like, it's clear that he's going to be a weekly featured part of their offense. And I don't think it's going anywhere. And my question to you is, Matt, right now, David Njoku is tight end 10 in Dynasty League.
I was going to ask you that. I thought I was going to be creative there.
Would you rather have Fannin or Njoku?
Njoku. Not clearly. I mean, I think that's a good question. I'm just sitting here picturing trade deadline. Njoku goes to the Chiefs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm interested of the next landing spot.
It's probably more likely he ends up in like Miami, right? And we just roll. I mean, I know.
He's got a lot of football left, I think, though.
I think he's 29.
Yeah,
he's just a good player. He's gotten better every year. So I think Njoku is the more talented player. But man, it feels like Stefanski's going to build an offense around Harold Fannin, which I don't know if it's smart or not. But he's going to get a lot of touches. I know that.
I know that too. And I think he's just good at the game, whether the measurables or the eye test is there. I'm pretty convinced that he's going to produce. And if he can get carries, man.
Yeah, I mean, I know I don't want to compare him to Brock Bowers because Brock Bowers is a significantly better player, and it's whatever, right?
But it's a little college careers though,
right? And I think my thing is, you look at Brock Bowers, who's like 6'3", maybe 240 pounds, and nothing about him screams best rookie tight end we've ever seen. Right?
Doesn't look like Gronk.
He doesn't look like Gronk. He doesn't look like Jimmy Graham. Like he doesn't look like that. But those are the type of guys that end up producing a lot in fantasy and in dynasty. And I get lesser, but similar vibes with Harold Fannin.
Michelob Ultra version,
Yeah, exactly. 100%. I wanted to ask you about another rookie tight end, Mason Taylor. Played quite a bit for the Jets. And, we talked about the Jets in segment 1. Coming out of week 1, I feel even better about Mason Taylor being someone that I want on my dynasty teams.
100%. Yeah, I mean, Again, I have a lot of newfound respect, optimism for the organization as a whole, for the offense as a whole, the design of it. I can't imagine them using another resource on a top tight end next off season. I think his role is only going to grow and grow and grow. I assume they'll add a receiver, but I don't think they're going to add much of the tight end room. And I really liked him coming out of LSU.
Yeah, and he blocks, so which means he's going to be on the field a lot. Now, I know the production was not great in week 1.
Doesn't matter.
But it doesn't really matter. And maybe Matt will come back, 3 weeks from now and be like, you know what? Hey, maybe Pittsburgh's defense was just awful, and that's why the Jets look good. Like that's what I'm hoping for, but I doubt it's the case.
I'll be quiet on that one. It was pretty
bad. All right, that is it for today's show. We want to thank you for making Locked On Dynasty Football your first listen every single day. Check out the channel on YouTube. Download the podcast wherever you get your podcast. We are free and available on all platforms. Follow Matt on Twitter @WilliamsonNFL. I'm at Marcus _Mosher, and we will see you right back here tomorrow.